Mental trigger. What if I told you that the change you fear the most right now is exactly the door God is trying to open for you? Because every change carries a key, but not everyone is willing to turn it. T.D. Jakes often says, "Don't be afraid of change. God is working where you can't see." These words sound powerful. But the truth is, in real life, most of us freeze the moment the winds shift direction. We say we want a new life, but we cling to old excuses like a drifting ship clings to a battered anchor. Why is it so hard to let go? Why is it terrifying to open up to something that doesn't even exist yet? It's because, by nature, humans hold on to what's familiar. It's like our minds shout, "Better the hell I know than the paradise I don't." It's sad, but true. How many times have you stayed in a relationship that no longer made sense? In a job that drained you? In an environment that felt nothing like home anymore? And yet you stayed. Not because it fed your soul, but because it was what your mind could decode. Familiarity. And familiarity is addictive. It gives you the illusion of safety while stealing your chance to bloom. T.D. Jakes reminds us, God is not limited by our logic. He is not predictable. He moves pieces while you sleep. He prepares ground where you only see ruins, and this part is vital. When something breaks, it's not punishment. It's pruning. It's the spiritual gardener cutting away dead branches so that stronger ones can grow. How many times, in silence, have you prayed for change? Maybe you didn't even say it out loud, but deep inside, you asked God for another chance, a new life, a renewed purpose. And now that He's answering, your soul resists, afraid of the unknown. You wanted the change without having to change, but life doesn't work like that. Spirituality is not a field of flowers. It's a plowed field where the soil has to be turned over. Self-awareness is that spade that digs deep, exposes rotten roots, and clears the ground. Does it hurt? Yes. But in that pain is born an emotional strength no one can ever take from you. Look back at your life. Have you noticed how your biggest turning points were disguised as loss? The friendship that ended, the job that let you go, the door that slammed shut without warning. T.D. Jakes talks about this so vividly. What you call destruction, heaven calls a new beginning. While you grieve the broken ground, heaven is planting new paths. So don't fight the wind. The wind is not your enemy. The wind is the divine breath, carrying away dead leaves. What no longer serves, you must go. And this is where your emotional intelligence comes alive. It's not about ignoring the pain. It's about welcoming it, understanding it, but not being ruled by it. It's about trusting that there's a bigger purpose, even when your eyes can't see it yet. Imagine for a second that everything you've lived through until now was actually training. Every tear, every no, every dark night of the soul, none of it was wasted. It was God forging you. Life was preparing you. Because when the real door opens, you'll need emotional muscles you don't build on sunny days. So don't fear the chaos. Chaos is the womb where new possibilities take shape. Chaos is the cradle of reinvention. If today it feels like everything is falling apart, stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question changes everything. It pulls you out of the role of victim and puts you in the role of author of your own story. And that's what faith does. It gives you courage to write new chapters even when the ink seems to run dry. As we close this first part, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say, "I will not let fear paralyze me. I accept what needs to go. I trust God to open paths I can't yet see." Because change is not a threat. And you are not alone in this. You never were. There's a truth no one likes to admit. We can outgrow people, places, and even the dreams we once thought were permanent. T.D. Jakes says it best. The danger is not that you dream too big, but that you outstay a dream that's too small for you now. How many people do you know who live stuck in an expired version of themselves? Because they are too scared to step into something new. It happens quietly. One day, your spirit starts whispering, "It's time to move on," but your mind answers back, "Stay where it's safe." And that conversation, that tug of war, is where most people waste years of their life. They keep asking for signs while ignoring the signs that are right in front of them. So let's be real. What are you pretending not to know? What part of you is already aching to grow, to break out of the mold, to walk away from what doesn't feed you anymore? This is what spiritual maturity demands. And honesty can hurt, because it peels away the excuses you've used as your armor. Sometimes God removes certain people from your life because they cannot handle where He's about to take you. That betrayal that broke you, it was a blessing in disguise. That closed door that humiliated you, it was your protection. T.D. Jakes teaches, rejection is often redirection. It's heaven whispering, not here, not with them, not like this. This is where your emotional intelligence kicks in. Emotional intelligence is not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about feeling the grief, the anger, the confusion, but not letting those emotions define you. It's about learning to stand in the middle of uncertainty and say, God, I trust you anyway. Think about a tree. When the seasons change, the tree doesn't fight to hold on to every leaf. It lets them go, one by one, because it knows new growth is impossible if the old stays attached. Why do you think your soul is any different? You can't carry old leaves into a new season. T.D. Jakes reminds us, you're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to be a different person than you were 5 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago. You're allowed to want more, to desire a life that fits the size of your spirit, now. The fear you feel, it's not a sign to stop. It's proof that you're on the edge of something bigger. If you weren't standing at the door of change, you wouldn't feel the tremble in your bones. So breathe, acknowledge the fear. But don't let it be your ruler. Instead, turn fear into fuel. Use it to ask better questions. What do I want now? Who do I want to become? What am I willing to release to make space for it? Real growth is not about adding more. It's about letting go of what's too small for your spirit. So here's what I invite you to do today. Take inventory of your life. What relationships feel forced? What dreams feel stale? What habits drain your energy instead of feeding your soul? Write them down, and then ask yourself, if I truly believed God was working for me, would I still cling to this? Change always starts inside. It begins with a decision to believe that you are worthy of more, not because you've earned it, but because your existence is proof that something greater wants to be expressed through you. Your breakthrough is not about who likes you or who supports you. It is about you becoming so anchored in your faith that nothing external can shake your inner knowing. You might lose people. You might lose places that feel like home, but you'll find yourself, and in finding yourself, you'll find God in a way you never have before. As T.D. Jakes says, get ready, not because change is easy, but because staying the same is so much harder on your soul. This is your moment to stretch, to breathe, to trust, and to open the door that's waiting for you. There's a sacred space between who you've been and who you're becoming. It's uncomfortable, messy, and uncertain. And yet, that space is holy ground. T.D. Jakes says, it's in that middle place, the in-between, where God does his best work. You're not who you were, but you're not yet who you'll be. It's tempting to run back to the familiar just to avoid the tension of becoming. But what if that tension is the evidence that you're alive, that you're in motion, that something inside you is waking up? Think about a butterfly. Before it flies, it has to fight its way out of the cocoon. No one can do that work for it. And if you try to help by cutting the cocoon open, the butterfly never develops the strength to fly. The struggle is part of the design. The same is true for you. The moments that test you the most are the very moments that build your spiritual and emotional wings. Sometimes the hardest prayer you'll ever pray is, God, don't let me settle for less than what you have for me. Because that prayer will tear you away from people, mindsets, and environments that can't carry the weight of your next season. That prayer will expose what you've been tolerating out of fear. That prayer will show you where you've been shrinking to fit into spaces you've out. When you look around and it feels like your world is shifting, trust that the shifting is sacred. God is not punishing you. He's positioning you. He's removing what can't hold the vision he's placed in your heart. He is stretching you so that your character can handle the blessing you've been praying for. And that stretching? It feels like breaking until you realize you're expanding. Maybe you've lost people recently. Maybe you've outgrown friendships that were once your lifeline. Maybe you feel alone in a season you thought would be full of celebration. Take heart. Isolation often comes before elevation. Sometimes, God needs your focus undivided. Sometimes, you need silence to hear what your soul has been whispering all along. And listen, you don't have to do this alone. This space, this community, is here to remind you that you are not the only one fighting for a better version of yourself. If these words speak to your spirit, don't keep this journey to yourself. Subscribe to this channel right now. Be part of this family that believes in growth, in faith, in transformation. Hit that button. It's more than just a click. It's a commitment to feed your soul with what lifts you higher. Because when you surround yourself with the right voices, you find courage to keep moving forward. T.D. Jakes says that faith comes by hearing. So make sure you re-hearing words that build you up, not tear you down. Words that remind you who you are and whose you are. In this journey of change, your mind will look for every excuse to run back to what's familiar. That's why it's so important to guard your focus. What are you listening to? Who are you talking to? What are you speaking over your own life? Because your words are seeds, and every seed you plant will grow, either weeds or flowers. This is the season to speak life over yourself, to wake up every morning and say, I am ready. Even if I don't feel ready, I am ready. To look in the mirror and see not just who you've been, but who you're becoming. The old version of you may be terrified of this process, but the new you is cheering you on from the future you can't quite see yet. Let go of the guilt that tries to shame you for changing. Let go of the fear that says you're unqualified. Let go of the lie that you've missed your moment. As long as you're breathing, you're on time. The clock in the kingdom of God does not run out. If he started something in you, he will finish it. But he needs your agreement. He needs you to stop fighting the transformation. When the doubts come, and they will. Remember this. God is not surprised by your weakness. He is not shocked by your fears. He knows every part of you, and yet he still calls you forward. That's grace. Grace says, come as you are, but don't stay as you are. This is the beauty of spiritual and emotional growth. It doesn't demand perfection. It invites honesty. It doesn't ask you to have it all together. It asks you to stay open, to keep your hands unclenched, to trust that what's leaving your life is making room for what's meant to stay. So today, take a deep breath and say, I choose change. I choose to believe there's more for me. I choose to believe that what I feel losing is really gaining something greater. And if you ever feel like giving up, come back here. Let these words remind you. You are not alone. You never were. Stay with us. Subscribe, share this with someone you love, and let's keep building a life that honors the gift God put in you. Because the best is not behind you. It's just beginning. There's a quiet truth about transformation that we don't talk about enough. The moment you finally step through the door you've been so afraid to open, you realize the fear was never about the door. It was about the unknown waiting on the other side. T.D. Jakes says, you'll never know what God has for you if you keep fighting the new with the mind of the old. Read that again. Because the version of you that's clinging to old patterns can't receive the blessings designed for the new you. Maybe today you feel caught between the voice that says, stay here where it's safe, and the deeper voice in your soul that whispers, there's more for you. Keep moving. This tension is not a punishment. It's proof you're alive, that your spirit still knows you were made for something bigger than fear, bigger than disappointment, bigger than what they said you'd be. I know you've been through things that made you question if you'd ever trust life again. Maybe you're carrying old wounds that flare up every time you get close to breaking through. Maybe you've heard voices your whole life telling you you're too much or not enough. But here's the truth. When God puts something inside you, no voice can cancel it except yours. That's why the enemy tries so hard to make you doubt your own voice, your own worth. The older version of you might be built on survival. You learn to keep quiet, to shrink, to endure. But the future version of you? That one is built on freedom, on faith, on the deep, unshakable, knowing that even when you feel alone, you are held by a love that has no limits. T.D. Jakes reminds us that sometimes what looks like failure is just a redirection. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the plan that fell apart. If you only look at what fell apart, you'll miss what's being rebuilt under the surface. God wastes nothing. Every heartbreak, every detour, every closed door has shaped the depth of your character. And that depth, that's your superpower. So, what now? How do you walk forward when fear still clings to your heels? You choose it every single day. You wake up and say, I don't have to feel brave to move. Faith is not a feeling. It's a decision to trust what you cannot see more than what you can. Take small steps. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Set the boundary you've been afraid to draw. Speak the truth you've been swallowing for years. Little by little, these choices change you. You don't become new overnight. You become new every time you choose growth over comfort. And remember this, you're not doing this alone. This community is here for you. You have people all over the world listening to the same words, fighting the same fears, and holding on to the same hope that tomorrow can be better than today. So don't just watch this and move on. Stay connected. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's walk this journey together. When the doubt creeps in, and it will, come back to these truths. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are not too late. You are exactly where you need to be to grow into the version of you that has been waiting for you to show up. Your past does not cancel your promise. Your mistakes do not erase your worth. If God woke you up today, He's not done with you yet. I hope you feel that deep in your bones. You are worthy of the life you can barely imagine yet. The freedom, it's all real. And it is, waiting for you to trust that the door in front of you is not here to hurt you. It is here to release you. As we close this message, I want you to breathe in this promise. I am not afraid of change. I am not afraid to outgrow what no longer serves me. I trust that what's leaving my life is making space for something greater. Keep this promise close. Speak it when you feel weak. Whisper it when you feel alone. Shout it when fear tries to choke your dreams. If this message touched your spirit, share it with someone who needs it today. Leave a comment below to let me know how this spoke to you. Your story may be the light that someone else needs to keep going. And one last thing. Where in the world are you listening from? Tell me in the comments. Let us see how far this family of faith and growth reaches. You're not just a viewer. You're part of something bigger now. Change is here, and you are ready. Let's walk through the door together.